Oh, it's you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 70, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books, gotta go fast, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me today, the blue fuzzball speed demon himself.
Zoom. Zoom.
Whoa. Whoa.
Zoom. Zoom. Zoom.
Oh.
Zoom. Oh, Anth0z. You know,
That was well done.
Well, thank you. While I was doing that, actually, okay, when you said that, I wasn't sure. Were you referencing Sonic?
Yeah, he says gotta go fast, so I just...
Okay, just making sure. Because then
Gotta go fast.
I was thinking, like, he's not that fuzzy, but I guess he is fuzzy. He's spiny.
I don't know, I never saw the movie, but yeah, in the games he always looked fuzzy to me.
Really, in the games he looks all like shiny and.
I guess he
like,
would
metallic.
be. He's a hedgehog, so I guess he would be spiky.
But he
wouldn't
should be spiky. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of, well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe fuzzy's not the right word.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's the right word because then when we
Furry, maybe?
when we see I haven't seen it, but the movie that came out, I think he's fuzzy. Is he not in that? He's probably fuzzy.
Yeah, I think he is a little fuzzy, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, whatever. Anyways, welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast. Anth0z, how you doing?
I'm doing. How you
doing? I am also doing.
Good.
That's a pretty good clarification. Anything new in your life? What's going on?
Oh, geez. Probably. Okay, so we finished. My wife and I finished watching Descendants of the Sun. So it's a Korean drama from 2016, I believe. So that's like our third one that we finished.
You guys are really into those
No,
Korean
fourth.
dramas.
That's our fourth one. Yeah.
I still have your other one written down. I haven't checked it out yet. But I have it written down.
Eventually, you might get to it, like in a couple decades.
I've got lists, and I do inevitably look at those lists.
Yeah. But I have
takes
this,
me a long
I
time.
also look at my list, and I don't go through them. That's just what the lists are for. They're just for gawking at.
Maybe.
Other than that, I don't know. What else have I been up to? Just that, and I feel like watched Hamilton. Yeah, we watched
Because
Hamilton.
his name was Robert Hamilton.
Yes, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure like what to expect because like the premise that I was given before watching it was it's a whole Broadway done in rap, and like I've never really been a big fan of listening to rap. Also, like I find that I can't understand rap because it's a lot of the time it's just too fast, and maybe I'm just like not really paying attention enough to the words, and I'm really listening to just the beat and the music, like the background.
Is rap an acronym?
Rhythm and poetry?
Is it actually?
Well, I don't know if it actually is.
I was gonna say really awesome poetry, but I just got that. Like I was trying to make a joke, and then I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! Holy smokes, is this a thing?"
You know, I wouldn't.
Rhythm and poetry. You might be right.
Yeah.
Wow. Mind blown. Hamilton is suddenly a good musical.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. That's me. That's my news.
Hey, I also tried to watch Hamilton. I watched the first song, and I do like that song to Hamilton. We went over this a little bit before the podcast. I do like that song, the main Hamilton song. I think it's pretty good. I'm just not really into rap music all that much or hip hop, and so I listened to a few other ones like Take My Shot or Not Gonna Miss My Shot or whatever. Yeah, and I just wasn't into it as much. I just couldn't really, I don't know. It didn't catch me. But that first song really did capture me because it's a good story and it's, I don't know. And I do like the music. I think that it's, for some reason, the first song is good. But when I watched the Disney Plus Hamilton Live thing, I don't know why. The song sounded not as good to me watching it. So I watched that and it was like, okay, whatever, and turned it off. I actually watched on YouTube the recorded version and that just sounded a lot better. So if I went to Spotify and I just downloaded it. So the Hamilton first song on Spotify, I think that's the way you should hear that song. But on the live one on Disney Plus, for some reason everyone gets a little bit drowned out a little bit with their mic, so it's harder to like hear some of the pickups in the background, like especially Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's got some lines where the just you wait, where he's like doing that in the background, but it gets really drowned out with all the other guys kind of shouting at you. So it's I don't mean to say that the production was done poorly or anything stupid like that. I just to me, I couldn't hear what I wanted to hear, I guess, in the song as much in that version. So I like the recorded version better.
And the recorded version, it's like a studio recorded, or is it a live?
I believe it must be.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
because all the levels are changed like to direct where the song is supposed to go and stuff, it seems. But it's just good. I like that song. I should give the play like an actual listen. I should go through the whole play at some point.
Sure, you should probably also watch it at the same time while you listen.
Or sure, yeah. I guess I should watch it. I do like American history, so I don't know why I wouldn't like this musical. I should like it for the story, at least, if I don't like it for the music.
And I assume some of the information is actually accurate.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about the historical accuracy of Hamilton the musical, but
Yeah.
it looks like it's decent. I don't know. So yeah, I gotta check it out.
Cool.
Essentially, I need to check it out more. In my life, the only real new thing, other than the dog has gotten bigger, is that we are building a shed in the background right now, in the backyard, not in the background. In the backyard, my fiance, her father, and I are building the shed, and that's been fun. But it's been a lot of work, but it's been fun. So we've got the biggest part to building anything in the backyard for us. It's always the ground. It's always like leveling the ground and then we got pyramid blocks that we're putting in and then getting all the boards and the blocks. All of that is the hardest and longest part of building the shed. So that takes up, I'd say, like 75% of building the shed is just that.
Wow.
So then we now got to the point where we've got all the beams in, we got the whole foundation and all the beams and everything's leveled, and we're ready to then put the plywood down, and then we can just put the walls and the roof and we're good to go. So, I did this once with my fiance and her father at a property of theirs, and we did a power shed. And we did it up there, and he kept saying the whole time, he's like, the walls and the roof and everything, it goes on in like 2 seconds. It's really quick. And I was always like, yeah, right. Like, that's going to take us just as long. But no, it's funny. You literally just, you lean them up, and then you start stapling them all in. Not actually, but you start nail gunning them all in, and then screwing in everything that you can, and getting all your joists and stuff in, and then boom, it's just, it's done. You suddenly just have your shed. So cool. I'm excited. I can't wait for us to get a shed. It's an 8x12 shed, and we currently have a 6.5 by 7.5 shed. So we're gonna get a lot more square footage in there. So we can actually fit our lawnmower in there, which is gonna be nice.
Okay, so yeah, you're mainly just using it for storage, I guess, right?
It's all storage. Yeah. The other thing too is the shed we have right now is one of those Costco sheds that you just buy, and it's right on the ground level, so the rats get in it, and the bugs get in, and the moisture gets in there, and all that. It's horrible. So the shed we have right now is about a foot off the ground. So it's quite high. We'll put a little ramp there, but it's nice being that high because it's not going to have as much moisture, and hopefully no vermin and stuff like that are getting in.
Yeah. So with the shed, so like you've got the one from, sorry, you said it was Costco?
Oh, I don't know if it's from Costco, but it's a pre-purchased shed from somewhere.
Okay, so that one, and then you've got this one that you're actually building. But
yeah, we're building this one out of the lumber and the cedar wood.
So did you have like plans to follow, or some sort of like instructions or something, or is it all just like
no, it's my fiance and her dad. They kind of they're more knowledgeable with all this kind of stuff. I'm more the lackey who just kind of does the work that they tell me to do.
Okay.
But she does the blueprints down, she writes the square footage, what she wants, and kind of a basic layout or design of how she wants the shed. Nothing fancy, we just want a workable shed.
Cool.
And then her and her father kind of like work on the functionality, I guess. The materials needed to then build that piece of shed, and then we just work it out. But yeah, it's nothing special. It's a rectangle, so it's not like it's super fancy or crazy. And then the roof is also a sloped roof instead of like a gable roof, so it's not like the traditional house. It's just going to be the one slanted slope. So that way we're going to have the water directed down. We're going to put a trough on it, and then redirect that water into a rain barrel, so we can then use the rain barrel for watering their crops and stuff. So
whoa, cool.
Yeah.
Everything's planned out.
I know.
That sounds so fun.
So that's in the next couple of weeks. We'll get that done. So if there is a future where you're going to be coming over to visit the house, you will be seeing. I think you're going to be seeing that all completed and done. So that'll be nice.
Okay.
I hope so.
Okay, cool. I thought you were going to say that I will be recruited to help as a lackey.
No, I wouldn't worry about that. No, it's a weird thing with the shed. My fiance told me this, and she's like, if there's too many people, it actually gets harder. And I was like,
Well, maybe.
And I didn't really believe her, but I think the 3 of us working on it is actually kind of the number you want. I can see how if you had more people, it actually would be a little bit of a hindrance. But
okay,
whatever.
More just people getting in the way, and
I think so. There's only so much you can do, right? Like a lot of it's just like screwing in different boards and different things. You can prepare stuff beforehand to make it go a little bit faster, but at the same point, you're all in this, 8x12 space. So
Yeah, right.
again, there's only so much you can do. Anyways, this podcast isn't really about construction or anything. That's what's going on in my personal life.
It totally is. That's all. That's all that it's about.
We did say everything in between,
Yes.
so we covered ourselves that way.
Yeah.
Let's move into something I like to call Ye Old News.
Ye
And the
Old
very
News.
first thing in Ye Old News that I like to do is say, would you like to hear a pirate joke?
Well, that's different. Okay, sure.
What's a pirate's favorite part of a song?
The hook.
Ah, you got it!
Yes. I know.
Yarr.
pirates.
Nice, well done.
Thank you.
That was good. That was well.
I didn't start off with that. I started off with melody, and I'm like, no, there's nothing there that sounds like piratey. And then I thought chorus, and I thought, what's another name for a chorus? The hook.
Chorus.
Chorus.
The hook. Well done.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, let's get into Ye Old News. What do you got for me today?
Got a bunch of things.
So do I. I'm really hoping we overlap on some of these because I've got too many.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's see. My first one. Oh, I'll mention this one, and probably maybe this is my favorite of the news.
Favorite news of the day.
So my favorite esports team, Cloud9, and
we definitely
their
don't have this one.
rivals, TSM. So there was a show match. So this wasn't part of the regular season standings, but they had it. They had a match just the other day, and it was based on previous rosters. So like the original roster of C9, Cloud9, and more or less the original roster of TSM. But their main, honestly, their main and best player wasn't on that day, wasn't playing that day, and I think it's because he's probably busy playing in the regular season schedule. So I feel like the match would have gone completely differently had he been a part of it. But either way, it was a fun match, and it wasn't meant to be like a serious game or anything like that. It's really just like, hey, like this is for the fans. Some of these players have not actually been playing for the past couple of years. Like they kind of either they retired like professionally, and then maybe they're still playing on the side or streaming or something. But it's just a fun match just to kind of bring back the hype for the teams. And yeah, so C9 pretty much won by a landslide, which is, I mean, it's fun to watch. It would have been more fun if there was a bit more of a challenge, but so just to break this down, like before the match actually starts, there's a ban phase. So each team takes turns banning certain champions because they know that the other players, they might have like a main champion that they play. So if that player plays that champion, that they might do like really, really, really well. So they want to take away that champion so that the player cannot use them.
Is that like tournament rules?
Yeah, this is in ranked.
Wow.
Ranked and tournament,
so
and that kind of stuff.
How many can you ban? Are you able? Is it like 1-to-1? Like you can ban as many as like your team number is, or something? Like each team member gets to ban one person or one champion from the other side.
Sort of like, so. Yeah, each team has 5 people on the team, and each team gets 5 ban picks.
Wow.
So, and yeah, you alternate.
Interesting.
So
I never even thought about that for strategy, but that totally shakes the whole game up. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move because otherwise
you can't have one main. Then you always have to have an alt.
Exactly.
Or maybe a few alts, I guess, at that point.
So it's supposed to encourage like not just an individual player having a wider pool to play from, but it also encourages the team to have to adapt based on what is even available.
I'd like to see that in like Smash Bros tournaments or other fighting game tournaments and stuff too, because that is a staple of those kinds of
I mean,
tournaments.
it's like
People
only mains, right? They like characters or players pretty much only play the one.
Exactly,
or
like
two.
everyone's Ryu, or they're like, or everyone's playing as Fox or something. Like they just have that one character that becomes their character. It's almost like a mascot for them as a fighter. But I love that challenge of the banning of a champion.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. I've never heard of that before, but that kind of just blew my mind.
Yeah. So, anyways, in this ban phase, so like I said, they take turns. But Cloud9, so I think they went into the game kind of knowing that, you know, this is kind of a match for the fans who know of this like original roster, and so like it's just a fun match. We're gonna play some like mostly the champions that like we played like back then, which are not necessarily meta champions that people would pick nowadays. So like the kind of like the old school flavor. And then they during the ban phase, they picked champions. They banned champions that spelled out TSM, like the first letter of those champions' names.
So they were just having fun with it.
Yeah. So TSM and then XD, like that smiley face, like when you type it out XD. And that was pretty much just to show like they're just having fun. Like it's a fun match.
That's cool.
So,
I mean, that's always fun to watch anyways. It's like an exhibition match, right?
It pretty much was an exhibition match.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And it's nice because like I think I might have mentioned this a couple of months back, but the last player who was a part of that team finally left, and so like I had less of a reason to watch that team, and so watching them come back all together, like I finally got to wear my jersey, sit back, relax, and watch them have fun together, and so it was nice to watch the match.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. How about you? And what's your news?
There's a big thing recently going on in the gaming circles, video game prices in the United States. So with the new next-gen consoles, we have been a little bit speculative of to what the prices are going to be. For reference, video game prices in the United States haven't changed since the cartridge era, and they've been $59.99 for video games. So game prices in the United States are about to jump up to $79.99.
Whoa!
Yeah, so this is actually only sports titles so far. That it was like a basketball game, I believe, it was NBA 2K, probably 2K21, and it got revealed at $79.99. But this doesn't mean that video games are going to be $79.99. This just means sports titles are, and in my opinion, sports titles, since they're annual, they're a little bit lesser. So I wouldn't be shocked if we actually saw an $89.99 for video game prices in the United States. Now, for you and I, it's a little bit different because we are Canadian. So the video game prices did jump up to $69.99, and I believe now they are $79.99 or the $74.99 sometimes on the games.
For sports games or just any other game?
In games in general, I believe.
AAA
just the regular
titles,
retail price.
Yeah, like headliner titles, like main games that come out, like new games are $79.99, and they have been for the past, I think, year.
But something to keep in mind, though, is the Canadian dollar is not as strong as the American dollar. So just because our games have changed in price, that's not a reflection of the video games or the developers or anything like that. That's actually more of just a reflection of our dollar just kind of failing in a sense, and everything shooting up a little bit with inflation in price, and then also a little bit of price gouging in my opinion. But for the States, this is a big deal because they have not changed. They've stayed at $59.99. Now they're changing, which actually means we're going to get a price increase as well.
Yeah.
Ours will probably go up to like 109 or something unrealistically.
Oh, that's scary.
You know what's stupid? It goes to the 9 just to round it up. So like that's not actually the representation of inflation. That's just to round it up.
Yeah, that's true.
So like the jump when we had it from $59.99 up to like the $69.99, I remember that $10 jump. That wasn't representation of $10 in our dollar failing. That's just to jump up to $10 more. Now, in my opinion, and this might be a little bit controversial, but in my opinion, this is good for video gaming. I actually think this is really good, and I don't mind paying more for games that are good quality. I think it's totally fine for games to go up in price because I actually don't really know how these video game companies were selling their games at $59.99 still.
Yeah.
Like, how does Red Dead Redemption 2 sell at $59.99? The same price as, like, the Crash Bandicoot Remade series that came out at $59.99. It's very strange, and I don't like how video game prices have always been $59.99, and they all are at that level. It's bad for people that want to make smaller games that are good little indie titles, and it's bad for companies that want to make AAA gigantic games. It also breeds that whole motivation for DLC and for premium content to pay for later, because then these companies try to make their money some other way, right?
Yeah.
So I actually like the idea of increased prices, and I'm hoping we get more dynamic prices. Like I said, with the sports title being $79.99, maybe we'll see that next Rockstar GTA 6 at something like $129, and a Legend of Zelda or something for $129. But then a new title that we've never heard of for maybe down at $79.99 as well, because we don't really know if it's good or not yet.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a price per genre kind of thing.
Yeah, I would rather see a model like that, I think. Like, people just recently bought Last of Us 2. Huge game, crazy numbers in sales. It did really, really well. If that game was $89.99 or $99.99, I still think it would have sold really, really well. I think people would have loved it. But that being said, if that happens, also the other games have to come down in price. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts on it. But what do you think?
Well, I guess I wonder if that's going to change, like if the model would then include price differences for physical versus digital. Because like as of now, it doesn't. Unless there are some games where it does, but that's probably just like the odd sale that comes up, or maybe stores just trying to get rid of stock. But like I guess I'm curious to know what the future holds then, because with the PS5 introducing two different consoles for the physical and the all digital version, which will definitely be priced at different prices, or will definitely be priced differently.
I don't know if it'll be priced differently. I was wondering about that. I'm still not sure. and I'm thinking we might see like a $5.99 price, and it might be $5.99 for both. The only thing is that what'll change is the hardware on the inside, the storage space.
Size.
So we might see $5.99, but 1 terabyte for the disk drive version, and a 2.5 or 3 terabyte or 4 terabyte or something for the digital version.
Right.
We might see something like that, and then they're the same price. Because I don't know, different prices might confuse people more. So if I was Sony, I'd probably look at a model like that where they stayed at the same price.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I guess because of that, I would still be curious to know if that's going to affect anything. And then, like, if they were to change to by genre, like, how would you? Because the thing is, like, even by
maybe by publisher, not by genre.
Or
like Rockstar, I think has the credibility and the credence to be able to make a game at a larger price, just as Nintendo would. But something like Activision or Ubisoft or something, I don't think right now or EA Games, I guess right now the public aren't as happy with them.
Yeah,
I feel like they wouldn't be able to price it at a higher level.
Yeah, but then it also comes down to like what does that specific game offer, right? In terms of like playability, because like there are the games that are just like a one-time playthrough, but even still, like they might take like a one playthrough game is probably like they're usually on like the shorter side. But they could still offer like a lot of fun, and but you could also have like a one playthrough game, or sorry, like a 60-hour game that could be like a one playthrough. Like you wouldn't really get as much out of it playing it the second time. So
yeah, well, for the amount of entertainment you do get out of a video game though, and for that price point, it's a little unfair, I think, for the video game developers. There's so much that's in a game. There's a lot of production put into it, but there's just so much also available in a game. So much you get out of it entertainment wise, or at least let's hope in let's say the ultimate game. But when you watch a movie, it's like a 2.5 hour movie. You spend $30 at the movie theater these days trying to get everything set up. Go and like watch it with a friend or something, and you go to the movie theater to go see a movie. It's $30. Get your popcorn, get your drinks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It is expensive. Or you buy the Blu-ray of a movie. It can be, I don't know, what's the price of a Blu-ray today? Like $29.99 Canada here.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't.
Maybe it's $34.99. I don't know. It's somewhere around there. And that's like what, half the price of a video game, which is 10 times the length. And that's at minimum.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, I'm looking up Blu-ray DVD. Okay, name a Blu-ray. Name a movie.
Avengers Endgame.
Okay. Endgame Blu-ray.
Canadian prices, people. Canadian prices.
Endgame Blu-ray. Yeah, $26.99. Or if you get the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo, it's $36.99 Canadian. Right. But
yeah.
And
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, things are already expensive for little well, I mean, I'm not saying that Avengers is little entertainment, but for something that is 2.5 hours, let's say, and then a video game, Red Dead Redemption storyline is like 40 plus hours, and that's if you just did storyline. There's obviously so much more to the game than just that.
Is it only 40 hours? I thought it was much longer.
Well, if you add in all the side stories and all that, then yeah, you can probably make the storyline a lot longer than that, right? I mean, I think I already had put a couple days worth into that game, and I was barely through the story.
Okay.
So it's kind of up to you.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we don't have to spend so much time on this topic. It's just that it's an interesting thing in the video game world right now. It's a hot topic and people are talking about it. So I felt like we had to mention it.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good thing to mention. Oh, wow. Well.
What else you
got? Okay. Well, I got a few more things. One is kind of like a trail of kind of sad, tragic stories. But
oh no.
Lately, there's just been a lot of deaths. And it just seems like it's so frequent.
I hear these all from you. I don't like at the moment I have zero idea who has died because I don't know. Like I don't have any social media or anything that tells me who's died recently. So
well, then I guess I'm your news post.
Yeah, you're my newspaper.
So and this is in no particular order, and these are all I think within the past like a couple days, and one was towards the end of June, so a couple weeks, but. So Naya Rivera, who played Santana on Glee, was out.
Oh wow!
She was out. I think she might have been boating with her 4-year-old son, and she drowned. I don't think they 100% confirmed how, but yeah. So,
wow.
So sad news there. Elvis Presley's grandson, I believe, committed suicide. John Travolta's wife passed away due to breast cancer.
I actually did hear about that one, the Travolta wife.
Carl Reiner, who was at the age of 98. So he's actor, comedian. Recently, I saw him in Parks and Recreation, which we just started watching. So I think the episode that I watched him was like the day I found out that he died.
Oh no.
which was just so odd. And then Grant Imahara, who was one of the hosts of Mythbusters, he was 49 years old and he had a brain aneurysm. And this is
Wait, which one was he?
Grant Imahara was the Asian one.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, 49 years old and brain aneurysm. I don't know if brain aneurysms
Holy
are technically
smokes.
things that tend to happen to older people, or if it's due to some sort of other trigger. But still, I mean, I don't know. That's young.
That
So-
sucks. I like that guy. I have good memories of that show.
Me too. Lots. Yeah. So yeah, very very tragic news. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families, and
For sure.
hope that they're all able to cope with what's going on in their lives amidst everything else that's going on. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. Yeah. So tragic news there. But on to other news. I have that's a little bit more light. That Dave Filoni has been selected as the executive producer for the upcoming Bad Batch Star Wars Clone Wars sequel series coming in 2021.
Is it going to be the same like art style as Clone Wars?
I haven't seen any information like that, and I don't know if they have revealed any information other than
With all the
executive
hype
producers.
from Clone Wars' final season, you knew something had to happen.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
they had to. Like they're gonna carry on more Darth Maul. They're gonna carry on more Ahsoka. Like they're gonna bring so much good stuff to this.
I certainly hope so. And Dave Filoni, like, he's not one to just toss stuff in like for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
he's a good storyteller, and he
And he's making them money. Most importantly for Disney, at least.
yeah, he definitely really is. Like, if you see like the comments of people like on Instagram or like anything to like I'll see like on their the Star Wars account, like Instagram. It's not Dave Filoni's and it's not like Clone Wars Instagram, but like the Star Wars Instagram account.
Yeah.
Like, once in a while there'll be a post, and like I think in every post like somebody comments about Dave Filoni, like Dave Filoni needs to do this, like bring back Dave Filoni for this. Like, he's definitely known by like the Star Wars fans that at least know about, like, know more than just what the movies are about, right? So
Well, there was so much momentum in the MC universe, especially before Endgame. Like every time a Marvel movie is coming out, there's just momentum. So no matter what, your movie is going to get so many people going to the theater. And when Star Wars was doing these recent sequels, sequel trilogy things, the momentum started really strong, and then it just kind of wavered and then fell, and we really lost momentum for Star Wars as a brand. But what's funny is like the small bits of Star Wars Clone Wars, suddenly had so much momentum. Star Wars The Mandalorian had so much momentum, and you're almost shocked because you see this movie that's like moving at like a snail pace, and then you like look over and there's this train whizzing by of Mandalorian and everyone's talking about it, and you're just like, holy smokes, like what's going on? But it's like somehow Dave Filoni has actually created these properties where we the fans are enjoying them enough to talk about them, to actually want to know more. And also we're putting money to Disney, so Disney's now just like, okay, they want Dave Filoni, we want Dave Filoni. It's win-win. Like this almost never happens, so you just, of course everyone wants him to do everything because it's perfect for both. It's a good spot to be in.
yeah, I'm just waiting
for
the day
everyone
that,
involved.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day that Dave Filoni just takes over all of Lucasfilm.
Oh, I know.
I just
like
feel
honestly,
like he's
if they,
gonna inherit it.
it would be kind of dumb, but if they were just kind of like, hey, we're doing another trilogy and it's gonna involve the Skywalker family and Dave Filoni's doing the whole trilogy, I think everyone would be like, okay, yep,
That's right.
sounds good. Like, yep, okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, and also we're bringing back the old cast from the original trilogy. Okay, yep. I'm in.
Perfect.
I'm
Good.
still in.
Thanks. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they could do it.
Yeah. Any more news on your end?
I got a few random things, nothing all that important. There's a Bird Box sequel coming to Netflix. I didn't really like the first one.
I didn't see the first one.
Okay.
Should
There's
I?
a sequel coming to Netflix. I would say no, but it was really popular, so
Okay.
go for it if you want.
Well, I'll watch half of it then.
In video game news, Death Stranding for PC is now available, so you can get it
Oh.
on Steam.
Oh, cool.
So anybody who didn't have it on PlayStation can now get it on Steam, which is cool.
Okay.
Ghosts of Tsushima released on
The
PlayStation
Sushi Ghost.
4. It's a Sucker Punch title. The guys make Sly Cooper and Infamous. And it's apparently not running very well on the original PlayStation 4s, which is kind of a bummer. That's what I have. It's the original PlayStation 4.
The
So if
PS4s
you don't-
are too slow. Like, they're not powerful enough.
Yeah, the original PS4s are one way with their, let's say, their RAM. I don't actually know what they changed. And And then the PS4 Pros came out, and I believe they had a better RAM in it, GDDR4 RAM in there.
Okay.
And I think that's what they had upgraded, but I can't really remember. Anyways, PS4 Pros do run faster, and they can handle games at 4K and all these things. But they promised at that time that games that would come out would release on both and still be stable for both consoles. But turns out at the end of the console's life, which is not actually the end of the console's life, it's in its prime right now on the PS4. It's apparently not running very well on the PS4. So it kind of sucks for developers because they have to develop for two different benchmarks. But it is frustrating for the fans as well, because if they want to play this game and it's not running well, it's like, what? Are they just going to buy another PlayStation 4 just to have a game run? Like, that gets to PC territory, which is kind of annoying. So
yeah. Well, I kind of feel like then in that case, people would probably wait to opt for buying a PS5 rather than buying a PS4 Pro or something. Or
yeah. I've got a quick thing for news here about Far Cry 6. I just wanted to get your take on this. Have you watched the trailer for Far Cry 6?
No, but I can't.
You don't. No, you definitely don't need to. I'm doing more of a thought experiment for you.
Okay.
So Far Cry 6, the trailer shows the guy from Breaking Bad, Giancarlo Esposito. The guy played Gus Fring. He's like the.
I actually only watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes, so I don't know.
You'd probably know this actor. He's in a lot, but anyways, he's playing one of the. I guess he's playing the main. Well, he's playing a character, let's say, in this trailer. He's playing a father. He looks like he's like the president of kind of like a war-torn country. I believe it's a fictional country, and he's the Presidente kind of character, right?
He's the guy from Mandalorian, and he's the
I'm sorry, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna read you the description. Now you tell me who you play as. Okay. Here we go. Here's the description of Far Cry 6.
Okay.
Far Cry 6 takes place on the fictional Caribbean island of Yara, inspired by Cuba, which is described as the largest Far Cry playground to date, and a tropical paradise frozen in time. It is ruled by El Presidente Anton Costilla, a fascist dictator with full control over the island who is guiding his son, Diego, unsure of his own future, to follow in his footsteps. Esposito described his character as a leader trying to empower the people to understand that they now need strong leadership, but he's stuck in the middle of this revolution. Esposito said that Anton had been born into a wealthy position but could not take leadership of the island until his father had dealt with the revolutionaries. So there's obviously a revolution going on in this crazy area. You've got that actor I just said. He's the presidente of this whole country. He's trying to get control over it. And he's got this son, this younger son who's come up, who can't really be a leader until he's stepped down as a leader. So either dies or steps down as a leader. Who do you play as in this game? Who's the villain?
Okay, so you're not giving me options. I guess that the villain. I wanted to say the villain is the president, but then, El Presidente. El Presidente, which is Giancarlo, right? You said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's a fascist dictator, to me that sounds like he's the bad guy. But then.
Well, okay, I'll save you the trouble here. So okay. You are right. Okay. He is the villain.
Yeah.
And it also was unfair to you. I only explained 2 characters. But in all fairness, the trailer only shows you those 2 characters. It's a father showing a son. He makes him hold a grenade, a live grenade the whole time, and he makes him hold the grenade so it doesn't blow up.
Yeah.
And he explains to him that holding that grenade is like trying to keep the country in check, you know? And he takes him up to the roof, and then the son has to throw the grenade. It's an interesting trailer. It's actually really well done story-wise. But regardless, so he's the main bad guy, this El Presidente character. That would lead you to believe that the son might be the main character.
He's supposed to rise up and realize this is not the way to do it or something?
Maybe?
Yeah.
No. You play as some random dude. The player takes the role of a local Yaran named Danny Rojas, a guerrilla soldier fighting for freedom who attempts to restore their nation back to its former glory.
Who is not shown in the trailer at all?
Not shown in the trailer at all. And also just, I don't know, it seems so weird to me. I was like, it's frustrating because this trailer was actually pretty dang good. And I used to be a Far Cry fan. I fell off the boat a while back. I used to be a Far Cry fan. But regardless, this trailer looked pretty good for story. And then they got me. They got me with that son character. It's like, what a compelling character. It'll be great to play as him knowing your father's a villain. What a Luke Skywalker-esque character. Nope. You're playing as some random revolutionary. The player can select Danny's gender at the start of the game. So you're also just whoever you want to be. Okay. So Danny is a guy or a girl. So it's actually kind of like playing as Skyrim or something where you make your character.
Okay.
Which is like, why make a story-driven game like this if you're just going to be an anybody in the crowd? it just it makes me so frustrated. I was like, oh, like playing as the son would have been way more compelling, I think. Imagine a moment where you might have to kill your own father, like because of his actions. That's so much more compelling than play as the random revolutionary.
Yeah, who by the trailer we have no reason to like.
We don't know who he is or she for this matter.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so sorry, you might have to give me a brief synopsis, but the Far Cry series, what exactly are they about?
Just a first-person shooter game. It's tries to keep you in the first-person shooter perspective the whole time. It's got very Ubisoft-esque gameplay mechanics where you have a wide open map, so you can free world around the map. Free run, I should say. There's lots of vehicles and lots of different weapons, and it's kind of sandboxy, so you can choose your own way to take out hideouts and stuff. There's always stories, missions, I guess, kind of Grand Theft Auto style that you have to go through to kind of fill out the map. There's crafting usually in these games, and sometimes there's a little bit of like leveling up, like skill sets and perks and stuff like that you get throughout the game.
So the game, like each game, like they're not connected story wise. Like each game has its own story.
Well, they have small connections, but no, nothing that big. No, in my opinion, it was really good with Far Cry 2. It was pretty good with Far Cry 3, and then it fell off. But I don't know. A lot of people disagree with me. I made a video about that a little while back, but a lot of people disagree with me.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyways, that was just a small thing. It frustrated me when I saw this trailer. I was talking to my fiance. I don't really play games as much right now, but I saw the trailer and I was like, I would watch this. I was like, I totally watch this story. It looks so compelling.
Yeah.
And then I just read the synopsis because I was interested. I actually was like, oh man, I'll watch someone play Far Cry 6. And I read that synopsis and it just made me so mad. I was like, oh, what a dumb... Like, I can see the game in my head. It looks like Far Cry 4 now in my head. I can just see it and I'm like, it's dumb. Like,
you know, that's interesting that you say, like, you would watch it. Like...
I feel like I don't have the time to play a game these days. I would just watch someone get through like the story beats and just watch those gameplay aspects.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because that's also part of my topic, which is going to be about streaming. And
okay,
and yeah.
Sorry, do you want to get into your topic?
No, it's okay. I can just briefly mention.
Oh, well, that was the last of my news.
Well, well then. We guess we might as well just go into my topic then.
Topic number one.
So it's actually more directed at you because you have experience as a streamer, as Cast Mattbrush. And so, my topic is basically what does it take to be a streamer?
What does it take?
So I do have a question kind of
guts.
lined up.
Takes a lot of guts, buddy.
Good. Do you have to show your guts on stream? Is that how it works?
Sometimes, if that's what gets the views.
Nice. Just full on, just guts and glory.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, so I guess before I get into the actual questions I have relating to that, what I was gonna say was that it kind of makes me think that could there be some sort of potential like business opportunity where the developers, like, knowing that they make these games that already tell like a huge story, like they're not always just like chopped up bits, right? But it's like they're full on stories. There's a lot of cinematics, and like streamers who play games, like they give people an opportunity to watch somebody else play the game because, yeah, like you said, you don't have time to, and sometimes it's just enjoyable to see somebody play the game because you still get the story out of it, like out of just watching them play it. I wonder if there could be potentially this like business opportunity where the developers actually hire a specific player or streamer to play the game in the way that they envisioned it when they were making it. So it's almost like watching like the developer's version of a walkthrough kind of thing, but it's basically seeing like the game.
Wow. Player for hire.
Yeah, it would be like that. Player for hire by the developers. So that could.
I mean, it's funny because you're right. It almost already is like that. A developer is hoping that a big YouTuber or somebody who is. I'll take an example here. So there's a guy I watch on YouTube named John Wolf. He plays a lot of horror games. Now you can play a horror game and you can pick it apart and you can do a whole bunch of things to it, but there are people out there that appreciate all the subtleties to some of the horror games, and he's one of those people. So he will pick apart horror games all the time. He makes fun of them, and he does it really, 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 really well. But a good horror game, he also knows how to play really well. I think, now this is more opinion, I guess, here, but I believe this is how it goes. I believe the developers would want him to play their game and get that, and that be the first time the public sees it, because like you said, it's almost like that guide or a trailer for the audience to really get into the game, and maybe if they get into the first act or so, that's enough to entice them to play it themselves. Or like you said, it's not as bad when the person is just watching the game and they didn't actually even buy it themselves, because games are more than just buying them. They are a brand, right? So there's a lot more ways to make money off of a game than just buying the actual retail copy of that game. Kind of getting back to the whole price of the game, the game companies these days have had to find many ways to get people to actually pay for things. So
yeah. Anyway, so some of the questions that I had come related to this. Let's see. So this is more of a streaming versus podcast kind of thing. But do you find that there are similarities? Like, so now that you've had experience, this isn't your first experience being a podcaster. What do we call ourselves? A PJ?
Influencers.
Podcast
we are
jockey?
heavy influencers.
We're influencers. We're PIs. Podcast influencers. We're not private investigators. Okay, so you used to stream games, and I don't know if have you done any streaming lately?
No, I mean, I wouldn't call myself an active streamer, but in the past I used to stream myself playing video games, and then I also have done tutorials in the past. I've done either video editing or video game development.
Okay, so do you find that there are similarities being a streamer as that you would find as being a podcast influencer?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I also did a lot of stuff on YouTube previously to that. And that was back in like the 2013 era. And
the 2013s.
2013 aughts.
Yeah.
And back then, with YouTube at least, you had to kind of mark yourself as a certain personality. You had to really brand better. Everyone had their, whoever subscribed to you and all that kind of stuff, you would have to give them all a name. Hey, my gang of chickens or whatever made sense to your channel, because you were always trying to brand. You're always trying to be unique.
Did you call your followers the bristles?
The castaways.
Oh, the castaways. Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And it was fun. I liked it a lot, but you aren't really yourself. And as you go more and more into your videos, you do build a persona instead of really being, Matt. I'm not Matt. I'm now Castaway Mattbrush.
Yeah.
Now, I was never really famous. We're talking like D-list celebrity or something, like even further down the list. Actually, from that, let's say an H-list celebrity.
Okay.
But so I still had a lot of fun with it though, and had active viewers watching my videos and commenting and experiencing it with me, and had a server at the time that everyone was joined into. We maxed it out at like 50 people in the server, which was a lot of fun. You had all these people there just there to have fun and see and be with you and chat and stuff. And that was great. But again, you had to be a persona at that time. So as soon as I moved on to Twitch and did streaming, I noticed right away the differences where I'm not being a persona anymore. I never did the video chat thing or video recording of my face, which I think does get even more personal and more to just being you. But it was funny. As soon as you start Twitch streaming, you can't really just be a persona for 4 hours. You have to just be you. So I tried doing the persona for a bit there, and I tried to do like 12-hour streaming marathons and stuff. And by hour 6, you just lose it. You can't. You have to just be normal after that. So I'm just being my normal self after that point. And some people don't like it as much because it's not why they started watching you. And that's just the reality to it.
So are you differentiating, like Twitch would be like the live streaming aspect versus before you were doing like this, like record and upload kind of thing? Like, is that the difference?
Yes. That is the difference. I just mean that the way you approach your audience is totally different from Twitch to YouTube. And the reason I bring up that comparison is because that's why Twitch and podcasting are the same. In podcasting, we're not being personas. Yes, I'm Mattbrush, and yes, you're Anth0z, but we are just ourselves at the end of the day. Okay. And I think the more raw, real, transparent you can be, the better your podcast turns out, and the better your Twitch stream would be at the end too. You might need to have flair, you might need to have character and personality, which is fine. That's just part of being like a broadcaster or some kind of influencer, I guess. Yeah. But I find, being an avid podcast listener, I enjoy people that are just real and normal. And when I was watching YouTube, and even now when I watch YouTube, you don't necessarily need someone to just be normal and real with you all the time. Like, it is fine if someone's a character or personality a little bit. That's always fun. Like, I watched that video game Donkey. Yeah. Great YouTuber, really funny. Obviously, that's not what he's like in real life. That is quite a bit of a character he's playing. Yeah. But it also works really well for that one niche style that he's doing, So again, that's the only reason I bring YouTube into this whole thing, is just because of that's why Twitch streaming or live streaming is very similar to podcasting, is just because you're yourself. Yeah. There's a lot of differences though. Showing video on Twitch and trying to have people. There's a lot of things that maybe Twitch streamers don't mention as much, is where you're trying to hide your screen a bit. Like, you don't want to show your whole screen. There's a big security risk to showing your whole screen on Twitch.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's funny when you're trying to do something very simple. You might just be trying to navigate to something. When I'm doing tutorials, I might just be trying to navigate something really simple, but you forget in the moment. You're like, well, I can't go to File Explorer. I can't go to my computer. I can't go through my files. And you're like, even if you're trying to open up a past project, you're now in your File Explorer and looking at your past files. It's like, well, I can't expose my computer to people on the internet. So there's all these funny little quirky things that happen on the Twitch streaming stuff that you're trying to hide it, right? You might put up a banner or something like that. You might put like we'll be right back kind of like video screen. But it is funny though. You have to be careful.
Yeah. So I guess in those instances, it would help to have like a second monitor. Like the second monitor would be the one where you're actually navigating through stuff. That would be.
You can Twitch stream with one monitor, but I do not recommend it to anybody out there. I've only ever Twitch streamed with two. I tried once with a laptop and a phone for my secondary monitor to do chat and all that, and it was so tough. So I don't ever want to do that again.
That's like base level streamer.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah,
and that was only because I was remote at the time, so it was not fun.
I think that's pretty good advice. Just setting up like two monitors. I actually noticed on Reddit the other day that Costco has like a 2-monitor pack. So
nice.
And it's not like they're the best specs for monitors, but I think nowadays, people working from home too. I think a lot more people are using 2 monitors anyway, so it's not just for like gamers. Could be just for productivity, and I think that it goes as far to include streaming.
I mean, working IT, everyone, the standard now is 2 monitors for just a business practical sense. Mm-hmm. So anybody working in accounting or anything like that, it's a must for 2 monitors. And then we're now even seeing receptionists and stuff having 2 monitors as well, even if they are just mostly greeting people and not using the computer as much. They still are standardizing at 2 monitors.
That's so interesting. I'm trying to think of like the way that I use I have 2 monitors now, and I only started using 2 monitors, a 2 monitor setup maybe about a month ago, and a lot of what I do on the 2 monitors, like I can do on 1 monitor. It just like, I guess it's maybe a little bit more efficient to have 2 monitor setups, just because I can kind of reference things a little bit quicker. And so I guess in a way, like it's efficient for me for what I do. It makes me kind of curious I'm curious about like how others would have, like a receptionist, like maybe they would have multiple documents and lists that they would need to reference, but
it is what it is. I mean, we're generalizing for IT mostly. To have a standardized platform for people, and I also was trying to get it to the 2 monitor mark because the pros outweigh the cons, I guess.
Okay.
And also with multi monitors, you get used to your setup. I mean, I had 3 monitors at my last job. I'm now down to 1 right now. And at 3 monitors,
that sounds
I was so used to 3 monitors, like it was incredible. And like I did all my coding on a vertical monitor, and it was so fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
That's now I'm down to 1. I'm down to 1 17-inch monitor right now. And the reason why is because sometimes when you're IT, you have to give everybody else all the cool shiny toys, which is so unfortunate. But your IT budget's normally quite small, and so I have the lowest monitor. But you just make it work, right? You make it work with what you got.
Yeah.
But back to Twitch streaming though, you can make it work with 1. It's just I don't recommend it. It's so hard, and it's not very hard to get a secondary monitor these days. All computers can pretty much run them unless you have a really bad graphics card. But even onboard graphics cards these days can handle multiple monitors.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to get a secondary monitor. Even if you want one for free, you can normally go to some Salvation Army or something like that and find people that are just trying to get rid of them, or look on your Craigslist or your free whatevers,
Yeah. So anyway, that's digressing a bit, but back to what you were saying about having kind of building into this persona when you were streaming on YouTube or uploading videos to YouTube. Do you find that with the persona being built in, maybe whether it was at the beginning or kind of in the middle, like the peak, or towards the end of it, but did that ever find for you to be kind of a distracting element to being a streamer? And not just that did you find it being distracting, but did you ever find that maybe kind of took away from what you were trying to achieve as being a streamer?
Definitely. And I think it's why I didn't enjoy streaming as much.
Okay.
When I was doing Castaway Mattbrush, I would try to do Twitch streams every now and then, mostly for charity events and for just having like sometimes to try to get new followers to come in so that they would know who you are, right? It was a new platform to get your name out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Like you said, it was so strange, so distracting. That was a good word. Trying to be a different persona.
Mm-hmm.
That doing all that and then managing your mods, managing your view counts, managing like the people coming in and just showing the people what they want to see, because live is different. It's like a play versus a movie, right? Like, so a movie, you have full control. Play, you're playing to the audience, so you're trying to play up certain things or maybe rush through other things depending on time. And so with Twitch streaming, it didn't work for the platform I had built on YouTube.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that I couldn't Twitch stream. It was just that it, like you said, it was a distraction from what I was trying to do. So I inevitably stopped doing it.
Yeah.
With the Castaway Mattbrush persona. Then I started to bring up the Mattbrush TV persona, which is what I believe, I don't even know because I've got like 4 Twitch accounts. I think that's the one I use now for streaming, but it's been almost a year since I've done it. And actually, you know what? I used YouTube recently for live streaming instead. So I was just using my Mattbrush Gaming YouTube account for it, because the YouTube live streaming app was actually pretty good. It wasn't that bad. I do prefer Twitch, but the YouTube one was easy enough to do. But I can't remember if I used Mattbrush TV or Mattbrush Gaming for the recent Twitch one, but that was when I was just doing some video game coding, and I like that so much better because, as I said earlier, you can just be yourself. It's just like these with a podcast. I could talk for hours here on the podcast. It's just that people don't want to listen for like an 8-hour podcast, but people might tune into an 8-hour stream. They'll probably jump in an hour 4, but they might come in, and I don't mind talking for the 8 hours if I'm just being very truthful and honest and not trying to be something more than I am.
Like, you're not trying to cater to the people watching. You're just you being you, and just people are
not
just
necessarily, but again, like, since it is live, you do try to play a little bit to it. Like, I mean, if I'm video game coding, that can be quite boring pretty quickly. So if somebody wants to see something, like I was doing a Pac-Man clone game, and somebody wanted to see a certain enemy type, and I was like, well, that's interesting. I was like, I don't know how I do that, but like, we could try. So then we would kind of work together a little bit with the audience. Like, how would we do this? Like, what should the enemy do? How should it act? How should it do this? How should it do that? And then from there, you got to working with it a little bit better, and then the audience is seeing kind of what they want to see. So
that's kind
I do like that, and I think it's fun. It's audience participation, which gets them more engaged in what you're doing.
That's much more interactive.
Yeah.
In that sense, yeah.
Now, you don't have to build it that way, but like, you'll see those moments. You can take them as you will. Just as a stand-up comedian might play to the audience a little bit more on something, if it's really hitting hard that night, then they'll play more into it, right? So it is that live factor with Twitch, and again, with podcasting, it's not live, but it has a live feel to it. It does get edited.
Yeah.
Like, our show will get edited.
Yeah.
It does get edited, but it's got more of a live feel because you're with that person opposite to you. Some podcasts are actually recorded live as well, and people are watching them live, which does make it a little bit more interesting. But podcasts are like hanging out in a room with your buddies, and Twitch is like seeing a live performance on stage. They're not the same, but they have a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I do kind of feel that same way about what we do doing our podcast, it is live, like for us. It's not necessarily live for the audience, but they hear a live, they end up hearing what was a live version anyway, other than the little bits of editing here and there, like the post-production stuff, just to make it cleaner, right? That's just for the sake of, it's not like we do editing for the sake of changing it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
You started giving me this look as if like,
no, I know.
As
we're talking about all this and how it's live and stuff, I was like, I'll just check my audio levels, and they were doing something really weird, so I gave it a weird look, so I apologize about that.
Okay, you looked at your audio levels.
Yeah, candidly, I'm on one screen right now to mention the whole multi-monitor thing. So you and I have a live chat going so we can see each other's faces.
Yeah.
But every now and then I have to switch off, so I'm not looking at your face. So at that moment, I just wasn't looking at you, and I was doing a weird face. So.
That's totally fine. Just wanted to make sure I'm not like messing something up. But
no, you were fine. Don't worry about it.
What was I saying? Something about live.
We are live to each other.
Right. So
that was a good moment to show that off.
Yes. But the editing that I'm aware of is pretty much strictly just for making it sound clean and like audible, as opposed to editing it to the point where it's just completely not what it was when we first recorded it, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
But even with that in mind, and this is also kind of alludes to my question earlier about having a distraction of like streaming and having that persona be there rather than you being you, and thinking about what your audience might be getting from your persona. Like, even when we are recording now, I think I'm me to an extent, but I still like I have in mind that people are like they're not hearing me at this moment.
You're censored to a certain amount.
But I guess that would be, it might not even be censored, like, or that is part of it at least. But the other part is that I'm just aware that these words are going to be heard.
Right.
And so well,
it's recorded. I mean, sit in a room with your best friend and then put a tape recorder down and click record. You're not going to have the same conversation with that friend that you would have had, right? Like, so there's obviously that going on in the back of your head. The best thing for a podcast to do is to forget about that when you're talking, but you're right, to some extent you can't totally forget about it.
Yeah. So what helps me in that situation is, us, when we've been doing our the Marvel movie marathon episodes, like I think just because of the amount that we're invested in the movies pre-podcast, right. Like we have we're definitely interested in them. We like them. That's why we chose to watch those movies and then end up doing the episodes about them. I think because when we get into the conversations, I think they tend to be a little bit more natural just because of how much we're invested in them. Whereas when we do these other episodes, I think we are still invested. Like otherwise we wouldn't have these topics that we bring up. But for me, there's just that extra layer that I'm aware of, and I find that, so for me, just with my experience, like I've never been a streamer, but as somebody who knows that I can be awkward when I know that there's a camera pointing at me, or if there's something that is recording me, like I have got this giant ball of a microphone, the snowball mic with a red light telling me like I'm capturing everything you're hearing, and my webcam has a blue light telling me I'm capturing everything that you're showing me. Like these layers to me are just like, I feel like I'm on radar, and I try to tear away from that, but right. Sometimes they can be difficult. So, and like as I said, this is me coming from the experience of not being a streamer, but just doing these podcasts. And
right.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like we didn't used to be like this, because we used to record.
No, I was gonna say
this 70th
one, but it actually hasn't been. This is probably your 30th or so podcast that we've done it in this format.
Like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's about half.
Because we used to be, for anybody who doesn't know, we used to be at the same table, like looking into each other's eyes.
Yes, but kind of on an angle, because we wouldn't sit directly across each other because we didn't want to get our voices into each other's mics.
Right, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
And then I also didn't want to talk into the wall because I didn't want my voice to reverberate off the wall into your mic. So I would try to angle my position so that it's just like only going into my mic and nowhere else can it get into your mic.
Forgot all about that.
Yeah.
We're going to bring that back one day. One day I'll come over and visit, and we'll do a live in-person one again. Nice. I wonder how much it would change or be the exact same. Like, I feel like our podcast did not change all that much when we shifted.
I don't think it did. No, there might have been like a brief transition of like,
yeah. We also had taken a break though. I think it was like a 4-month break or so in between that time.
Yeah, that's true.
The only other thing I'll say is that with podcasting, the only thing that really changes you in podcasting, other than Twitch streaming, is in Twitch streaming you don't typically have a stopping time or something you're trying to get to, some kind of end goal or time limit.
Yeah,
that's funny. I mentioned this because we are actually at the end of this episode, but. When you're in a podcast, it's totally fine, don't worry.
Sorry.
When you're in a podcast, you are well aware of what time it is. And I've noticed that in other podcasts too. There's nothing you can really do about it. You just try your best to get it done within that time limit. And you watch the clock, and you're hoping that you're going to be somewhere around that sweet spot of what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And you might notice it with the people where they're kind of rushing things along, or they're slowing down if they can. If they have the time to slow down, they might ask another follow-up question. Well, so how does that make you feel? Or they might just be, oh, okay, interesting. All right, well then, hey guys, and then they just move it on, right? So
yeah, right.
And that is something that you will find on a podcast and you won't find on a Twitch stream. Sometimes on a Twitch stream, they'll look and go, oh, wow, it's 12:30. Holy smokes. Okay, we're only going to play for another half an hour or so. And then everybody goes, oh, okay. And that's about it, really, on a Twitch stream. But no, on a podcast, you start rushing it up. And that being said, I enjoyed this podcast. I like what we've done so far. I'm not going to have my topic in lieu of time, but also because my topic is not time sensitive. So it'll most likely be my topic next time. And that gives me a little bit more time to research it slightly more, although I had some notes. But that's fine. Now I don't. It's less work for next podcast. So.
Okay, sure.
But no, don't worry about it at all. We actually took up a lot of time in the news segment, anyways, talking about the video game news, which is good too, because there was also some good topic stuff there too. So
yeah,
totally fine with that.
We had a lot of news today.
We had a whole heaping amount of news.
It was a news day.
A whole news day. Anyways, so that's that's all I gotta say about that.
Cool. Well, thanks for humoring me as my guinea pig streamer / podcast influencer person.
No worries.
Question.
I think we really made me sound a lot bigger than I really was. I'm by no means famous. There was nothing that came out of that was like all that fame or anything. I loved all my fans that watched the show, and to any of them that are still watching this, we've got a few random comments from people that have somehow found me, and I thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I have no interest in going back into the Castaway Mattbrush stuff, but it was a really, really fun part of my life, and yeah, I liked it a lot.
You've heard it here, folks. He's never doing it again.
Never say never, except for that.
Yeah, and aside from the whole like fame thing, I feel like that's also like an extra layer that would be kind of a separate topic when it comes to what it takes to be a streamer or what it's like. Maybe the words "what it takes to be a streamer" isn't quite accurate, because it's more like what is the experience like? Because when you're a streamer or when you are somebody that records podcasts, you obviously have different purposes or goals, different things that you're trying to achieve with it, and because you have different goals, you're going to approach it differently. So in terms of the fame thing, I see that as kind of being like a separate thing that you have to kind of deal with, because otherwise most people I think are going to start off streaming not already being famous. They have to get to that point, so they got to learn about what it's like to be a streamer first. Hopefully they have some sort of knowledge that they've already gained of what it is that they're going to stream. So say like somebody just to pick up playing League of Legends and to start streaming that, like it would definitely help that they have some knowledge in the game. It would probably help if they have kind of more of like an outgoing personality too. But those are just two things that I can see just off the bat that you would have to start off with. And whether or not fame comes into play, I think some of the questions that we brought up, like how much you like, it's got part of it could be like a mental game, because like as you said, like when this persona it builds over time, but it's not necessarily something that you force to build, right? It kind of maybe just gradually comes out as you begin to learn new things about your streaming. And so it's kind of like it could be like an endless loop of self-reflection, and then that's just potentially one scenario of a streamer anyway. So I think I really enjoyed being able to talk about this, because I never really considered myself trying to stream. Like it's come up every once in a while, because like I have some friends who, when I play games with them, they're streaming, and I thought, well, like I could just easily do that, because I feel I'm comfortable talking out loud sometimes. Although when I'm playing games, I'm so focused on the game that I can't talk, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But
that's true. There's an art to being able to commentate while you play, which is unique and hard and tough, and yeah, a whole separate beast there. But yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
One thing we could do too is in the future, if you ever want to, you and I could stream a game that we're playing together. Put it under the whole Scumbar podcast kind of network.
We should do that.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Yes, I would be too.
One thing my fiance and I did in the past is we had done an Age of Empires match, and she had recorded her version of it, and I recorded mine. It was our match against each other, and then we put that up onto our respected YouTube channels, and that was really popular. People really enjoyed that.
Nice.
So we could do that. You live stream it, and then you put the video up at the end. So it'd be fun.
Okay. I forgot. Is Minecraft, is that free to play on PC, or are there any versions of Minecraft?
Did I say Minecraft?
No. I'm bringing that up as
you can play the trial version of it. You won't be able to join servers though or anything.
Okay, because we're trying to think of like, I would say if I taught you to play League of Legends and we did that as like a stream or something, and then you taught me. I was just thinking Minecraft because that's what you used to stream. But...
I'd probably put you into some really weird games. I'd put you into like Mountain Blade or something.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But then again, Minecraft would always be fun too. We could always have a Minecraft world going. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. Probably chaotic, but fun.
Probably. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's leave it at that then. Anth0z, where can the audience find you?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at ANTH0Z1.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at Twitter at Mattbrush Gaming. You can also find me on YouTube at Mattbrush Gaming, where you can find this podcast in video format so you can watch it with your eyeballs. But if you want to listen to it with your earballs, you can listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms. We're on
Balls.
Spotify. We're on balls. I actually just recently got a Spotify membership, and I would like for the first time and was like searching stuff on Spotify, and I was like, oh yeah, we're on Spotify.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wow, there we are. Cool. So yeah, we are on Spotify. So that's one of the easiest ones to find us, but we're also on iTunes. We're on Google Play Store, Music Store, and all that. So we're on pretty much any of your favorite podcasting platforms. Find us there. You can like our channel. You can give us 5 stars.
Or 5 thumbs.
Or 5 thumbs, or whatever
balls.
heart or ball unique identifier they use. Just go for it.
Yes.
Leave us a comment, leave us a like, and let us know what you think about the show, what you'd like to see in the future. If you want to see us do some streaming or anything like that, that'd be a lot of fun. If you want to email us, you can email us at thescumbarpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us an essay, and we may or may not read it live on air, as long as it's got a proper thesis.
Ooh, and it has to have a full essay structure.
Yep.
So that means, yes.
I want to see
thesis.
college essay structure, I want to see 3 topics. I want to see you to bring back those 3 topics in the conclusion as well.
Yeah.
Also, before I forget, too, we also have the Marvel Movie Marathon episodes that we have coming out on this podcast. It's a separate show where we're going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, 22 films for Phase 1, 2, and 3. So if you're interested at all in the Marvel movies, go through that with us, because we're breaking down every single film, and it's a lot of fun.
And the next episode is going to be the end of Phase 1, I believe.
Yes, it's going to be the Avengers, end of Phase 1. So
movie.
it's going to take us a long time to get through all these movies, but it's been really fun so far going through them. So
I mean, we're already at the end of Phase 1.
Yeah.
By next week, it's going to feel like we're going to be at the end of Phase 20 already.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're just creating our own movies.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Anth0z has got a little special psalm he's prepared for you.
Streamers are dreamers. The dreams of those laid out on the screens. The screams of the fans are heard all around. The roundness of your eyeballs feasts its desires on those screens. Psalm of streamers.
I'm so glad you heard me say psalm and not song.
I
was like, he's gonna think I said song, but no, you got it. Good job.
I'm glad you didn't, because I didn't want to have to sing about streamers. I'm glad I could just have it was spoken word.
It was well done, sir. All right, good night, everybody.
All right, good night.